stakeholders. Today the topic is remunerative prices for farmers. So let us start the whole session with about 2-3 questions. What is remunerative? We are not talking about what is remuneration. What is remunerative? For a software engineer, if you get less than 1 lakh rupees, that is non-remunerative for him. Okay, similarly, that means the value for the job you do and the value for the time you invest and the value for your innovation, invention, and so on and so forth. So therefore, see, today we talk about doubling the income of the farmers. So whether the remuneration or the returns on investment or the returns on the opportunity cost of his time, effort, and all that, whether is he able to make a comfortable living or not. See, suppose you are a central government employee. So how is your DA calculated? DA is calculated based on the consumer price index, and then how much of DA has to raise, because you have to make the basic cost of living, and you have to lead, if not very comfortably and luxuriously, at least you can make the two ends meet. So today the $1 million question is whether farmers are getting enough remuneration, and are they able to meet the costs, and whether they are getting returns to run the family also, to have access to health, education, and some meaningful income is the question for the today's session. Now, very quickly, let us go. All this introduction, these are all with you, and who am I and all those things have been told. Okay, now, see, there are two types of farming. One is the subsistence farming, okay, which you see on this particular photograph, zoom cultivation or shifting cultivation, where it is a farmer is aiming only at subsistence. See, he takes a hill land or a tribal land where a majority of our tandas are there, okay, we say the hamlets. So very minimal sort of cultivation, not so fertile soil, and once when the 1 or 2 crops comes, so he is not putting more fertilizers or not doing any other issue, and just hand to mouth existence. That is subsistence farming. The second thing is, today people are talking about organic farming and rejuvenating soils, and enough lectures and resources have been shared, where the objective of farming is to enrich the soil and keep it sustainable on a longer run, so that you need not shift the farm from one to another, and then your farm is continuously going to give returns for a basic unit of input which has been put. So the third level is called as the commercial farming or the polyhouse cultivation and protected cultivation. I told you that IIHR boasts today of the Center of Excellence and Protected Cultivation of Horticulture Crops. All are IoT controlled, and very high value crops like vanilla or export-oriented crops. You can grow off-season vegetables. Okay, it can be even broccoli, it can be English cucumber, or it can be any other commercial. See, gherkins, for example, 100% export gherkins are transported to Europe. So all these high value crops are all grown on commercial farming scale using the protected cultivation. Most of them are IoT, sensor-based, controlled, and all those things. See, now the main argument is the agriculture price support. Suppose you are growing rice and wheat. So how the minimum side support price is arrived at? So whether the agriculture market, okay, whether it is a stabilized market, whether there is some remuneration or opportunity to come. See, suppose today agriculture is a highly protected agriculture. See, look at the price volatility. See, now price volatility is the support prices for wheat, maize, and soybeans is increasing. But whereas in case of the house price index, okay, that's much more highly volatile market as compared to the agriculture market. And agriculture market, if it is not protected, and if you leave it to the forces of demand and supply, very simple economics. My economics teacher used to tell in my BSc class, okay, if the supply is more, the demand will come down. Okay, and once when the demand comes down, okay, if the supply is more, the prices will fall. So everywhere, today, there is a record production of 335 million metric tons in horticulture, and at the same time, 315 to 320 million metric tons in agriculture. So it is a glut sort of situation. So in any glut sort of situation, I don't think that any economic curves of demand and supply, okay, demand and price, okay, supply and price, all these things are showing a negative trend. And farmer is at the receiving end, and unless he is supported by government interventions of both subsidy, the minimum support price, or the market intervention scheme, he could not make anything out of it. So now, all this is the government subsidies cover a large portion, so that, that will keep because the supply is already very high, the production is very high, and the demand is somewhat inelastic. Like, we cannot say that, like, unless the consumer goods, see, suppose your prices fall down, there will be surplus purchase. It's not like that. See, even if the prices fall down, you are going to eat only 200 grams of rice, or 100 grams of dal, or whatever it is. So it is not so elastic in nature. And look at especially this total consumption. People have been trying to, subsidize some things and then give government subsidies. Okay, so that, the consumption also, people are trying to, from the government policy side, to push the consumption. So many sort of promotions. We had the millet exhibition very recently. Okay, like that, a lot of promotions are also there. Atmanirbhar Bharat, it may be fisheries, it may be Swavalamban Bharat. So many schemes the government is rolling out just to protect the agriculture and make farming remunerative. So we have already told you 90 million plus farmers, about 150 million farmers, 80% are small and marginal. So if the subsidy is not given, okay, what will happen is the prices will fall down. If the prices fall down, okay, what will happen? See, now the supply is increasing on one side, and see, simple economics, when the supply increases, the prices will fall. Because the prices should not fall, the government is giving a support price in the form of subsidy. You can see this red mark. So similarly, see, the Farm Acts were withdrawn. I am not saying good or bad. See, the Farm Acts were withdrawn because what will happen is, if you leave the entire agriculture produce for the free market forces, okay, and what will happen? A glut sort of situation, prices will crash, and he may not get even his cost of cultivation. That was one of the argument. But at the same time, the new Farm Produce Acts were aiming that farmer will diversify. He will move away from rice and wheat to more remunerative crops and more protected. I showed you in the first slide. That means the aim was that farming will move from subsistence farming to sustainable farming to commercial farming and export-oriented farming. But every farmer cannot do and shift to that sort of a paradigm, because to go for a protected cultivation and have an export-oriented farming, you require a lot of skills, studying the market, business plan, entrepreneurship, startup models, and so on and so forth. So therefore, good or bad, now the Farm Acts have been withdrawn. So now there are examples about 10 richest farmers I can give. Okay, see, look at the farming, maybe horticulture, seasonal vegetables, aloe vera, organic farm, corn, okay, polyhouse farming, pomegranate. See, look at all these farming enterprisal sectors. They're all moving into the protected cultivation and high commercial value farming. Then only you can become rich. Simply by wheat and paddy and subsistence farming, unless the government supports you, your farming is not going to be remunerative. This is one of the lessons we can take from this slide. So then there was a small study saying that how much does a farmer earn annually in India. So they told that he earns about 6,427 per month, whereas a taxi driver earns more than 15,000 to 20,000. A Ola driver earns about 60,000 a month. And in that 60,000, he has to pay an EMI of about 18,000 for his car, which he has taken as a loan. So totally 77,124 is the income annually for an average farmer. So not only hard work, farmers should also start smart work. So it is something like that. What are smart cities? Smart earning. Smart work means by putting less effort, you have to earn more money. This is called smart living. See, why have the flat system come? See, why don't you have that Suryavamsham type of big houses, 2-acre houses? Today, a small flat of about 1,500 SFT has got all the amenities, accessible, location specific. You can access the metro, you can access the internet, you can have health facilities, education facilities, and income earning opportunities. So in another statement, they say, if a farmer tickles the earth with a hoe, it laughs with a crop. So that means today agriculture has been taken as a mocking exercise, as a humiliation. So that means people who do farming are earning less. They are not able to make such profits. So this is one of the paradoxical situation on which we are going to talk today, how to make it more remunerative. So why are Indian farmers poor? I've already told you the yield productivity is getting high. Okay, the supply is increasing. At the same time, the farmers, the prices are falling, and we are unable to diversify it and do any value addition and do export-oriented sort of horticulture or agriculture. So 51% of the agriculture production is done by small farmers and laborers, and 70% in high-value crops. So therefore, more crop per drop and all the productivity issues. More than that, what we wish to say is, if at all you have to make the Indian farming remunerative, you will have to diversify. You will have to have market-led crops, market-led export-oriented crops, broccoli, okay, English cucumber, okay, and then we also have this bell pepper. And many of these are all export-oriented crops. And today the horticulture department is giving an exclusive training for the farmers for protected cultivation of some of these crops with 100% export market, gherkins and so on and so forth. So now, I told you record production already, it's very high, 300 plus MT, 335 MT horticulture at the year ending 2022. And then all these things, even from the past 5-year production, year on year, it's very high. Okay, and thanks to the agriculture technologies, the farmers, the extension service, and all the stakeholders who are involved in it, today it's a record production. But where is the record remuneration? Okay, real estate, a small piece of land purchased in a big city for about 20,000, today fetches more than 20 crores. So look at the 200 times appreciation, 300 to 2,000 times appreciation. But such an appreciation does not take place in agriculture crops or horticulture crops just because the production is more, and we have to do really something for it to make it. Okay, tireless farmers and diligent scientists. So this is another slogan. So farmers are also working hard, and scientists are coming with newer and newer technologies, BT, and so many other things. Not only from the improvement side, it is a drone technologies. Then it is a precision farming. Okay, controlled through drones and data-driven precision agriculture, record production. So now, if you see the world average, in spite of this production of India, still India is lagging behind in the productivity part, the tons per hectare. Look at the blue one are all India. So with this less production only, we are having glut situation. If we really reach the potential yield, then you can imagine what sort of glut is there and how government would have to buy back all these things and gives how many support prices and subsidizing agriculture to that extent. Is it really worth it or not? And the agriculture growth year on year in percentage, we have been seeing variations in alternate year, maybe due to the rainfall and all that. You can see the troughs and the peaks. Okay, and many peak states in Assam is the largest producer of tea. So now we came out with this ODOP concept, just to do something where your comparative advantage and key specialization is there. You grow those crops, including value addition, supply chain, value chain, and marketing. But still farmers are suffering. Okay, then agriculture contribution to GDP is shrinking. So it is just about 18.8% last year. So, but where the service sector has contributed more to the GDP, that is the software exports and software programming and so on and so forth, more than 60%. Is there an industry is at something around 30%, rest is all the service sector. So in spite of record production, in spite of very heavy technologies, in spite of glut situation, the GDP contribution and gross value added is less. And at the same time, because of this sort of a glut situation, farmer is not able to get the remunerative price. And how much we can subsidize? That is also the million-dollar question. We cannot do it. So then similarly, the exports are also increasing. But the exports are bringing the foreign exchange to the country. But what the farmer should get is at least the minimum support price or the market intervention scheme where MSP is not there. So something to support, because definitely the value which is earned through export or import or all those things, whether can we pass on and suppose the cost of cultivation of, let us say, Bajra is about 1,200 rupees. That is the minimum support price. Okay. And the market prices are sometimes less than the MSP. So minimum support price may be higher than the the market rate. See, this is a situation and a very stark situation. So therefore, the agriculture exports are increasing. So the lessons to be learned from this particular visual is that, farmers should go more for export oriented crops and try to earn foreign exchange and also profits. So then the agri imports also, if you do import substitution, especially in terms of vegetable oils, fresh fruits, pulses, cashew, and natural rubber, okay, which we are importing at this level. If you reduce the imports also, it is as good as saving your foreign exchange and contributing to the GDP and the welfare of the country. So at least farmers can do this so that, their remuneration is going to increase. So see, look at our top 10 agri export: marine, basmati rice, buffalo meat, spices, raw cotton, oil, sugar. That is the reason, people grow more cotton. They grow more basmati rice, and marine fisheries has taken a big lead. In spite of the freshwater aquaculture being at a staggering 66%, that is more than the marine fisheries. See, these are some of the, you see the minus and the plus here. Wherever plus is there, for example, 6.6 is the plus, the growth. Whereas in other products, okay, the non-basmati rice is decreasing. That means you should not grow more of non-basmati rice. You grow for basmati rice, which is our export potential. Then only the remuneration can increase. That means, in a nutshell, if you see this particular visual, wherever the plus are there, okay, you should grow those crops so that your remuneration can increase. Wherever the minus is there, if you continue to grow that or produce those products, you will be definitely under loss. Similarly, okay, look at our export destinations. See, for our export destination to US has reduced, Vietnam has reduced, but whereas in Iran, China, it has increased. So wherever we are going to get, see, now there is a lot of de-dollarization happening. De-dollarization means, the recent Ukraine war, you started purchasing the Russian oil by paying ruble, and even in rupee you were transacting. So that means if you want more dollars to come into your place, you should export more with the countries who use dollars for their exchange. So this is how the crops concomitantly linked with that will get more remuneration, obvious about that. So look at the percentage growth. Wherever it is negative, you should do raw cotton, you still have advantage. Therefore, farmers grow more cotton. So, but many times what happens, people say by growing more cotton, people are committing more suicide because of more cost of cultivation. It is not because of the increasing cost of cultivation, but in case of cotton, there was an export ban suddenly. So I don't know. I'm not here to comment on why the export ban was there and what should be the policies of the government. But at least I can tell you this much in this presentation: wherever the percentage growth shows positive in the export in $1 million, I think you should continue to cultivate those crops. See, especially processed fruit and vegetables, 18.71% growth. You should do more of processing, more of beverages, more of probiotics. Okay, tea we are negative because you have competition from Sri Lanka and other things. Sugar, we are still at a high. See, in spite of all these things, sugarcane production, people are discouraging. You don't get that minimum support price of sugarcane. In spite of all that, sugar is showing good exports. See, raw cotton is showing good exports. Non-basmati rice is still good. Okay, growing rice is much better. Okay, whereas the agriculture commodity, the percentage growth of basmati rice is only 4.5, although the potential is there. Therefore, we say that the farmers kindly shift from non-basmati rice to basmati rice. Okay, although the percentage growth is there. So wherever you get more dollars, you have to shift those crops. The agri exports have been increasing over a period of time. Okay, and then obviously the oil mills, the raw cotton, see, these are all showing positive trend. Okay, whereas wheat and all are showing lesser amount of export. So one should discourage. Okay, especially buffalo meat, we are under red. Sugar, we are still a good color. We can do it. So coming to the cost of cultivation, why is remuneration is not increasing is the cost commission chairman. Okay, Vijay Paul is my old colleague. And then we have NP Singh there. He's also my other trusted friend. We were all PhD classmates. And then they come out with this cost of cultivation A2, which includes all the input seed, and then the FL is farm labor. Okay, all these things when computed, okay, they come out with a comprehensive cost. Okay, the actual cost plus the family labor imputed cost, or it's also called the opportunity cost. And then we come out with the total cost. See, in case of, look at this, if the MSP is not offered, okay, 2,277, okay, this was the estimate. If you offer less than this, okay, in spite of offering 227, he is making a very marginal profit of 260 rupees per quintal. In case of barley, it is, with this particular MSP, 523. Whereas Masoor, with the MSP offered, he makes 1,133 profit. With rapeseed and mustard, with record production, we have so much of export potential, only 209. Safflower is still good. So, but safflower is a tricky rabi crop, risky crop, because it has got more thorns, and breeders are trying to come out with this thornless safflower. But it's a very remunerative crop. At least in this table, comparatively, one should shift more to the safflower. It requires less water. It can be very easily grown in Rajasthan and all the desert areas with less water, with using drip or whatever. So, knowing all these figures also, still farmer continue the high intensified water required paddy after paddy, and the recent MSPs, and especially the people, farmers did dharna in Haryana, Punjab and all that. Why should the wheat or rice be continued when still it is giving less remuneration? Why are they not shifting to more remunerative crops of pomegranate or rapeseed or mustard, which gives you more income and remuneration? So similarly, look at the cost of production and the current MSP. Paddy, very, very marginal. Look at this. Whereas in case of jawar, it is very unprofitable. See, because the cost of cultivation is more than the current MSP offered. You see, in case of jawar, we have this negative trend, a double thing, okay, and very, very marginal in case of paddy. Therefore, we say kindly to even still bajra is better. Recently, I organized 500 farmers in an FPO to grow this fortified bajra, where iron fortified bajra was used, and it fetches a premium price. It's still better. Bajra is better, although we say it is a poor man's millet. Okay, look at ragi. It again makes losses. Maize also not much. Okay, arhar, okay, quite marginal, we can say. Moong dal, for example, look at this, 5,700. Current MSP is only 5 paise. So if you grow moong dal, you will get a loss. Although we are protein deficient, and then we want all that. See, look at the economics and statistics of more important. Urad also very similar, groundnut, soybean, so not much. So what I wish to say is the current MSP then does not cover the cost of production. Therefore, these should be the guidance points for the extension workers and the policy makers to say that which particular crop should be grown to make farming more remunerative. So profit, percentage profit in case of wheat, barley, all that's been given. So out of these figures, rapeseed and mustard is going to give more. But today you have come out with this BT mustard, but the only objection for that was that it is going to kill the honeybees, because mustard is a cross-pollinated crop, and without cross-pollination, the seed setting won't be there. And if you use the GM mustard, it is only a thinking. I'm not very sure, and the research data is again divided on these issues, whether cross-pollination is affected or this 44% profit is going to come. So similarly, we have all the day by day, the cost, the percentage cost of total cost is increasing, and that is the trend, and the labor shortage and labor cost increasing. All these issues are there. And look at this, the MSPs are there, but the percentage increase also, MSPs are increasing, but how far it can increase? But whereas look at this safflower, the increase of MSP of safflower was almost 20.6%, but that concomitant increase is not coming in other crops. So therefore, you should also understand this policy making and government triggers which are indicating which crops to grow. I think farmers should take tips from these things and then grow those remunerative crops in order to make their farming remunerative. So better returns over cost. Okay, so this is nothing but the marginal return and the marginal cost. Okay, bajra is still good. I'm telling you, look at this figure. Bajra is giving 85% more returns as compared to the cost. So the returns are high because the MSP was high, or the demand and supply was high. See, let me tell you, in agriculture in India or any other place in the world, without government intervention, if you allow agriculture crops to have the free market forces of demand and supply, my God, it will be a glut situation, and in Hindi we say barbad ho jayega. So you will be doomed. So therefore, Okay, I'll come on the conclusion stage why the government intervention is necessary. But the lesson taken or taking lesson home is, so whichever returns are over the cost is good, kindly grow for those crops. Bajra is still good. So we have next with, these sort of things. So then now coming back to the difference between MSP and farmers' demand. So the cost is 1997, but the MSP is only 1840 over the years. So that means there is a chance, or there is a request for the farmers to increase the MSP, although it might not have been done. Of course, I am not blaming the Cost Commission or the government of India. So they have their own reasons why they cannot increase the MSP every now and then. Then similarly, export prices of broken rice have almost been very constant. Okay, India produces about 25% of the broken rice. Still, over the less, it is almost, you can see a flat curve here, almost elastic, because I'm not seeing those spikes of triggers. Suddenly you get more money for this. So therefore, be careful. So the gap in farm income and non-farm income, look at this graph, very important. Today, non-farm income is, for example, by earning by wages, becoming a driver, okay, coming to the city and working. These are all non-farm income. The non-farm income is more than the farm income. Therefore, there is a tendency for migration and people come to cities for search of lucrative pastures. So average monthly income of a farmer household, okay, from wages he gets this much, and cultivation he gets this much, okay, animals, and then non-farm business also. This is actually in case of rupees, you see how much they are getting. So more of non-farm business and other diversification one should do. The income boost is very good in lentil, and I already shown you mustard, we already discussed. Whereas wheat and barley are still fetching less. So therefore, wherever you get income boost and the percentage change is there over the year 21 to 22, kindly go for that. So percentage income derived by agriculture by large farmers. So, you can see the peaks here. West Bengal is much better. Okay, then I think fairly they are quite good. But especially large farmers are getting good income and not the small and marginal, where the risk is more. Both the C2 is computed by the cost of cultivation plus family labor. So now the import share we have already seen. If you reduce the import share and increase the export share also, okay, your remuneration can increase. Better returns we have already told you. Okay, MSP versus cost. Okay, so here you can see many of these crops. Okay, when government interferes in the market, he gets some little bonus. Okay, and very, very minimal. Whereas in case of ragi and all, only for home consumption, you should do it and not for commercial cultivation. Although people say ragi biscuit, jawar biscuit and all, they are not so remunerative. Okay, and then look at this cotton. Okay, the cost is more. So he is right. See, although there is more export demand, don't confuse that export demand with the cost of cultivation. Okay, the MSP offered is 4020, whereas the cost is high. So the cost of cultivation of cotton is increasing, not only because of the BT cotton is giving protection to up to 2,500 rupees of the pesticide cost, but today the sucking pests are taking a lead and they are attacking. So cotton is still a vulnerable crop as far as plant protection is concerned. Okay, so now the consumer share of the rupee. Okay, people say that if a remunerative agriculture has to take place, okay, at least 60 to 70 paise of the 1 rupee share has to come to farmers. That is not happening because no value addition. Hardly is getting only 15 paise or 20 paise of the 20%. 66% is expected, but 20% is what he gets because market prices are declining because of demand and supply. I told you, very high supply. Okay. And okay, the demand is also almost inelastic. The demand is not increasing for fresh fruits, vegetables, or crops. Only value-added products also, I see minimal demand. But see, some of them should be exported. There only you have demand. See, I think this is a game between the between the local market, the export market, then the profit on growth and the MSP, and so on and so forth. And farmers should be very, very tricky. If not the farmers, the policy makers or people from the agriculture department, horticulture department, the extension workers have got a message to say that we need to guide the farmers both on a temporal and spatial scale to go for profitable agriculture. And of course, we say organic farming is good. There's a big hype about Paramparagat Krishi. I am not blaming anyone. But they are all less remunerative. See, farmer has to take more risk, put more investment, go for export oriented. I told you, broccoli, okay, English cucumber, or this bell pepper, which are in very high demand. These are the exotic, including gherkins for sauerkraut and so on. So people fail to see these figures and apply it into their agriculture business. But see, you cannot do emotion agriculture. You have to do practical business-oriented agriculture. So crop output and income, I've already told you, wholesale price index, everything has been told. So very quickly, I'm coming to the conclusion state and we'll take a couple of questions. Why the returns are not good even after bumper harvest? The reason is overflowing stock, glut situation, not a huge demand for food grains, not a huge demand because we told you agriculture production, fresh produce is somewhat inelastic. It does not become elastic. So then, especially during pandemic, there was reduced purchasing power. People could not move. Mobility was an issue. So doubling farmers' income, so many things were told. Okay, the only thing which I highlighted is unless you shift to non-farm jobs, your income cannot increase. Simply by increasing productivity, production of livestock or crops, improved efficiency, more crop per drop and input use, you cannot do it. Increasing crop intensity, all this will add more production to the country and more, we have more nutrition security and food security. We have 90 million metric tons in our food godowns. That is all fine. But to improve the price realization by farmers, so we require some more innovations. I've been speaking with a lot of my agriculture economics friends, and more friends I have from agriculture economics than extension. So I keep telling, where are your business models? Everybody has a business model. For export, there is a subsidy. For import, there is a subsidy given to you. And there is a support price. There is a tax holiday given to a software company and so on and so forth. But where are the business models and game plans for the farmer is the question I ask my economics friends. And of course, it's a very highly debatable topic. I will not go into that because the time of presentation is short. So export policy, they wanted to double the farm income. Okay, although 18% of the world population is supported by 2.5% of the world's land, we are still very good in agriculture. Let me tell you, our production, our water resources, our productivity is absolutely very high, except, we are unable to bring innovations in increasing the remuneration of farmers, which I've already discussed. So then people ask whether rising MSP is the only solution. Not necessarily. Okay, you also bring market reforms. People came with REMS, okay, regulated electronic market. They say ENAM will solve the problem. Okay, then national trading, that is not happening because, see this, APMC license for ENAM, it says if you buy one license throughout India, you can do it, but that is not really happening. So all these things are there, gentlemen, and they are adding to the challenges. So people say, inefficient physical operations, then lot of crowding of intermediaries. I don't know how to remove them. Fragmented market change. See, just like you have a milk grid, I told you we are number one in milk production, and our milk grid is there, and Safal tried it with the vegetable and other grid, but the same marketing grid is not occurring in other crops and things. So even today, farmers have to suffer and stand in front of various roads and do dharna to get their prices. So what needs to be done is farming, wholesaling, warehousing, logistics, processing and retailing. So this is what I've told. You need to bring very revolutionary innovations in all this farming. Of course, the agriculture scientists have taken care. Wholesaling and retailing, I'm not sure we require, especially we have that, what is that? National Institute of Agriculture Marketing, NIAM. It's at Jaipur. Okay, my friend was the DG of that. And now that has been merged with managed, no issues. But more innovation should come in wholesaling, retailing, warehousing. Then especially the logistics, especially you have a Kisan Rath app. So where, the transportation is all subsidized, or you get it at a button click. But that will not help you, gentlemen, unless you do processing and retailing. And obviously, earlier we say production to market, but now we say market to production. What is the demand in the market? You have to produce that, and the supply chain should be well established before you do the promotion and production. So that's how it goes. So the farm business is not so easy to do, although many startups and entrepreneurs have come. In the morning lecture, in another session, I told that we're doing a startup in agri, the input side is always fine. So we say that in agriculture business, the input factorization is occurring, but the output commercialization is failing. So we are unable to get remunerative prices. Strong government support is also required. There should already be a price stabilization fund, just like we have an APSS fund for agriculture research, crop insurance. Of course, people have apathy towards it. People don't invest, or the government can simply give away a free crop insurance in case it fails and he'll fail to get the minimum remuneration. The crop insurance should be able to compensate. These are only some suggestions. And obviously, this crop livestock integration, I have been hearing it for the past 30 years. Okay, and I don't know how, just because he integrates it, okay, it can add and augment his income. But definitely when I say remunerative agriculture, that means something else for me, because that English sentence is different. So biomass utilization, especially the recycling, we say bioresource flows, and then recycling the waste matter and mulching and don't burn your crop, all those things also be done. So let me quickly conclude, gentlemen. I think my time is up, and I just short for 10 minutes. I'll open for discussion. This is the last slide. So now we say agriculture is dying, but the production is not dying because food is a desirable profession. Food is required. So government has to support. You require this high production. Otherwise, you cannot go with a begging bowl like 1960s. With record high production, there is a glut situation. Okay, and because of high migration, there is shortfalls in labor. Okay, and larger farms are relying on imported farm laborers. See, even people come from Nepal to work in Kerala. Come on. In the present difficult scenario, especially even after COVID, the agriculture the sector is the low-hanging fruit. That means it is less remunerative. People tell me that they will do agriculture only after they earn enough money in cities, in the industrial sector or the service sector. I see many cinema stars, after they lose their demand in the cinema industry, they have done a big farm, and they only publicize that, saying that they are doing livestock integration, they are doing farming. That is only for the gimmick purpose and publicity purpose, but actually agriculture is a low-hanging fruit. That means it is a less profitable profession. Government have an opportunity to boost more and more of growth agriculture with a lot of efforts of technology support, especially in supply chain and value chain. This will also lead to a growth of the manufacturing sector and spur the overall economic growth. Okay, this is what is there. So to the last sentence I wish to say before I open for and stop sharing my presentation is, if agriculture industry is export oriented, okay, then the industry also can think of export oriented, because the raw materials come from agriculture, and the service sector, which is relying on the foreign medicines and foreign dyes and cosmetics, also can be produced in India with the available field with medicinal and aromatic crops or drug industry. All these three things, after integration only, agriculture can become profitable and remunerative. Thank you very much. I stop sharing, open it for discussions. The session is now open for discussion, sir. Over to agriinformation.com.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for a wonderful presentation. I will take up the questions from the participants now. The first question is, what is the difference between FRP and MSP?
No, MSP is, I'll just, no, the FR, that is farm realized price. That means what is the price he realizes at the farm. See, many times what happens is this marketing cost is there. Suppose you harvest mangoes, 10 tons. So farm realized price. So at the farm gate, let us say you may be offered, okay, suppose if it is Alfonso mango, you may be offered 12 rupees or 15 rupees. But the MSP is, of course, mango does not have MSP. Some have MSP. MSP is the minimum support price offered by the government, without which you cannot buy. See, suppose if I say the MSP of paddy is 1,500 rupees, nobody can buy it less than that. That is actually the rule. But the market prices can be less than that. That is called the farm realized price. FRP can be less than the MSP. MSP is a support price announced by the government. It is not necessary that you will get it.
Okay. Who decides fair and remunerative price?
What is it? Who decides?
fair and remunerative price?
See, the Cost Commission of India, CCI, it's called Cost Commission of India, is sits at New Delhi. Dr. Vijay Pal Sharma, my erstwhile colleague, is the chairman of the Cost Commission of India. The assistant chairman is one Dr. N.P. Singh, is my PhD classmate, I told you. These two are agriculture economics. They have a team of experts from various branches of agronomy and other things. They keep going, touring all over the country, and they study the cost structure, that C1, C2, and then how much MSP should be offered. It is these people who decide and suggest the government to offer. Okay, this is only a suggestive body. Just because they suggest, it is not necessary and mandatory for government to implement it. So the Cost Commission of India, which sits at New Delhi, which is having a bunch of agriculture economics and all my very, very good friends. So they are the people who decide these things.
Okay, we have one general question, sir. Do rich farmers in India pay income tax?
No. See, okay, see, I think you are Dhanlakshmi, am I right? Okay, I'm just using it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Dhanlakshmi. See, one thing is there. If you, kindly don't mistake, because I am asking a question to answer your question. Okay. See, now we have 100 people in India. Let us say our population of India is 100. So now only, how many tax, about 10%, 20% are genuine taxpayers. Even when big industrialists and people are hoodwinking the government and not paying tax, you fall on the very small proportion of farmers. I told you 10 rich farmers. So whoever the rich farmers I am showing, definitely they will be paying the tax, or there is definitely an ITR 1 or 2 in place. So let us not, focus all our little energies on these farmers. At least the farmers who even have missed the tax net also, at least they are our, productive, and they are our contact farmers, and they can be used for publicity to promote farming. So rather than, I think we should focus more on those tax evaders and then the fraudsters like Malya and XYZ who have been put into big scams and converted India into a monastery.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We have now completed the round of questions. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we like to thank Dr. K Jayaraghavendra Rao for the talk and for answering the questions. I'd like to also thank all the participants in this meeting. This meeting will now be closed.
Thank you very much. Hope to see you again in the next session. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.